Okay, I'm going to open it up real quick. Billy Hadaway, our Director of Transportation, is going to speak first. Chief Orlando Orlone will speak next, and then Chief Rich Wales will speak as well. So we will have 3 speakers speaking about transportation, public safety, and public safety EMS safety, and then we will open it up for Q&A, probably just a few minutes of Q&A. So, all right, Billy.
You want to set the podium though, right? Good afternoon. Thank you for being here today. This is a big event, obviously, and you folks are an extremely important part of us reaching out to the public and making sure that we get as much information out to the public as possible so that we have a smooth event. One thing I want to make sure that all of you are aware of, starting tomorrow, the city will be using the City of Orlando Twitter account. That's @CityBeautiful to provide the most up-to-date road closure and transportation and parking information because things are changing constantly. We expect the roadways in the immediate area surrounding the Amway Center in downtown to begin closing at 9 a.m. tomorrow, Tuesday, June 18th. That includes Church Street from Huey Ave to Garland Ave, Church Street, on South Street from Huey Ave to Division Ave, Pine Street from Garland Ave to Huey Ave, and Huey Ave from Central Ave to South Street. And in addition, Division Ave from Anderson Street to Central Boulevard. Now, there will be likely additional road closures, but these are planned to be implemented at 2 p.m. tomorrow, including the closure of the I-4 westbound South Street on-ramp. So as we hear additional information from the Secret Service or others, we'll be sharing that information as soon as we have it available.
Just to clarify, those
Sure.
closures were for 9 a.m.?
Yes, 9 a.m., excuse me, 9 a.m. tomorrow. As far as pedestrians are concerned, because of the event, there'll be several areas that will not be accessible for pedestrians. Those areas will close to pedestrian travel starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and those include Church Street from Garland Ave to the event, Pine Street from Garland Ave, and then Huey Avenue between Central Boulevard and South Street. All pedestrian traffic, all of it must use Central Boulevard to Division to enter the arena. As far as recommended detours are concerned, we do recommend the following routes to get around the area. If you're heading north in downtown from Division Ave, make a right on Anderson Street and then a left to go north on Rosalind Ave. To head south in downtown from Division, make a right onto Central Boulevard and then make a left to go south on OBT, Orange Blossom Trail. If you're moving east and west in downtown, the following roads will provide east and westbound access. That's Anderson Street, Washington Street, and Robinson Street. Alternative modes of transportation, obviously, if people have to come in tomorrow, whether they're attending the event or coming to work or have other appointments, we do have alternate ways to get around, so it's a good time to try Sunrail. When you're in the downtown area, we have Limo, which is our free circulator, and we also have Bike Share, all of which will help to get around in the downtown. Lynx and Limo will operate normal hours on Tuesday, the 18th. But we may have Lynx especially may end up having alternate routes, or Limo may have alternate routes and delays because of road closures. Please check golynx.com for the latest information or call their customer service line at 407-841-5969. And then Sunrail. Sunrail has announced additional evening service for Tuesday, June 18th. They will operate its normal schedule until 10 p.m. And then beginning at 10, they will operate 3 northbound and 3 southbound trains departing exclusively from the Church Street station. The last train is scheduled to depart at 10:45 p.m. Because we expect higher than normal volumes on all trains, they have added a 3rd coach, so they're now running 3 coaches. But to ensure safety, Sunrail does have the right to limit onboard storage of bikes and strollers when the trains are crowded. As far as parking is concerned, it is going to be challenging because there still will be people at work, and so as a result, we are making additional parking available at Camping World Stadium lots 6 and 7. Those lots will be open and shuttle service will begin at 7 a.m. and it will operate until 11 p.m. The shuttle drops are currently planned to be at Paramore and Central Boulevard. If that changes, obviously we'll be letting people know as those things occur. And with that, turn it over to Chief Roloff.
Thank you, Billy. So as you know, whenever we have these type of visits, there's a lot of planning that goes into play, and we've been doing that for the last couple of weeks. One thing that we want to reassure also our citizens who live here is that normal services are also taken into account, that we plan for these type of visits so that the resources that we normally would have providing regular services are not depleted or affected by these type of visits. It takes the entire Central Florida community, law enforcement community, to make something like this possible, and for that we want to make sure that we give credit where credit is due to all the law enforcement agencies that are assisting us right now. We very much appreciate that. As far as anything outside of the norm, as you know, we have had a lot of visits in the past. We're used to these type of visits. This one is kind of unique in the sense that obviously is a national announcement that is being made, and for that reason, you probably will notice more presence, police presence in most of our downtown area, anywhere near the Amway Center. And like Mr. Hadaway said, please make sure that if you have an opportunity to carpool, if you have an opportunity to use Sunrail, exercise that. It'll help us quite a bit if people also avoid the area, if they don't have any business in the downtown area. But there will be a large police presence, and again, we're going to make sure that all of our regular services are not affected during the visit. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Wales.
Good afternoon. As the fire chief, I wanted to address our preparedness for the presidential visit. We're working closely with our law enforcement partners. Our top priority is health and safety of our residents and visitors in the downtown area tomorrow. First and foremost, we're preparing for heat-related emergencies. We're in the middle of summer, and in Florida it gets very hot, especially our out-of-town visitors who are not familiar with the heat and humidity, and then certainly the thunderstorms, lightning storms that we typically expect in the afternoon. The most important thing you can do at this point is to plan ahead for your visit tomorrow. Stay hydrated, bring water, wear sunscreen, wear lightweight clothing, and remember standing room only, and many will be standing for an extended amount of time. So please be prepared for standing, heat, rain, and the associated issues that go along with that. In the event of an emergency, Orlando Fire Department will be on site. We'll have personnel, paramedics, firefighters inside the venue as well as outside the venue. The queue lines will be a little longer, and we'll be well prepared outside as well for any emergencies that might happen. Again, we will be very well prepared for heat-related emergencies. Again, hydration, dressing for the occasion are all very important aspects. There will be a climate-controlled medical tent in the queue area of the venue outside. We'll have a couple bike teams also mobile around the vicinity of the facility. We'll have multiple paramedic firefighters staged around the event, also to provide care and treatment should anybody need assistance with Orlando Fire Department. Our state agency, Task Force 4, has also provided and assisted with additional assets, including carts, gators, tents, carts, and additional supplies. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So, given the fact that we're hearing that there are going to be numbers of people who are going to demonstrate, how are your people going to be prepared? Will they be in tactical gear and in and around those demonstrations as well to make sure that there's separation?
I think you will see business as usual. Our officers dressed in our traditional uniform in the surrounding areas, and then we will have that contingency, those officers that have a specialty, especially dealing with crowd control, if it rises to the level where they're needed, you may see them come into the picture. But for the most part, we're going to treat the event just like we would any other mass gathering. We're going to have our resources properly deployed and those standing by in the event that they're needed.
Chief, the president's tweeted that he expects as many as 100,000 people. Now, he tweets a lot of things, but are you prepared for that magnitude of a crowd?
What we have learned through the process, especially working with all the entities that have been involved in the planning stages, is that often not more tickets are given out than the number of people that do attend. But we always make it a practice to always prepare for worst case scenario, and that's what we're doing in this case.
Are you preparing for 100,000 people to show up tomorrow?
We're preparing for whatever crowd comes to the downtown area.
Chief, can you show us on the map sort of where the overflow areas are going to be and where crowds of people will be?
So the overflow area is going to be over here in this general area, is where they're going to try to queue in as many people as they can, but we are prepared. If that holding area exceeds the capacity, to basically have an area where they can continue to line up for the event itself.
Chief, can you talk a little bit about the resources you're deploying for this particular event? Is it comparable to any other major event like that would happen at Camping World, or is it a little bit different?
It's different. It's definitely different. You have a lot of specialized resources, although we can't get into the details of what those type of resources are. Rest assured that we have basically incorporated everything and anything that will guarantee the safety or the protection of those that are coming to Orlando.
Is there an inflated cost associated with that at this time? That you know of?
There always is. Anytime you have a visit like this, there is an added cost, but that is something that we already anticipate that we will, at some point or another during the year, will encounter. As you know, the Central Florida region, especially the city of Orlando, is a very popular place for these type of visits, and we're going to continue to see these visits, I'm sure, moving forward.
Now, Chief Wells mentioned that heat is something that they're looking into. They have their priorities. From the police aspect, what are you guys really anticipating and preparing for, first and foremost?
Everything that Chief Wells recommended. We have to maintain our officers hydrated. We also have made some arrangements to get some buses in to have like little holding areas every time someone gets to the point where maybe they need to take a break. So, but to his point, those that are coming that may not know better, the humidity here is pretty tough. We want to make sure that they're prepared for the event itself and the weather conditions.
Who decides who gets inside the Hemingway Center? Is it first come, first served? Is it based on the Trump team decision? Who decides that?
That's going to be something for the campaign to answer, but what we have been told is that if you have a ticket, it allows you to get into the queue area. Once the maximum capacity of the arena is met, then obviously no one else will be able to go inside.
Can you explain the coordination that you guys are having with federal and state agencies as well? I know not specifics,
Yeah.
but at least in general.
So the planning goes into weeks. And actually, the planning continues today. It will continue tonight. It'll probably continue tomorrow. And it's like a living document. Basically, it keeps being modified as we go. But everything, again, is meant to make sure that not only the people that are participating in the event, but anyone in the area, it's basically taken care of when it comes to the services that they expect for us to render.
Chief, back to the possibility of protest. Is there an area sort of on that map where you expect or are planning to have, a lot of protesters? Do you know at this point?
So there are 3 groups or so that have expressed an interest in actually having a defined area for them. We're going through the permitting process with them. Our team basically has been in communication with those groups to make sure they understand what the boundaries are for them. But everything so far has been through a permitting process.
Are the boundaries defined yet, or are you still working on them?
Yes, for the groups, they specifically requested certain sites for them to be at, but we're still trying to finalize if they're going to be utilizing some of the sites that they have requested.
So we don't know at this point where they will be.
We do have a pretty good idea, but I'd rather wait until we finalize that and maybe release it later versus tell you something now that may change in an hour from now.
But you're working to keep the supporters and protesters separate. Is that what you're...
We're going to afford everyone their First Amendment right, obviously. And the great thing about this is that we are very proactive in reaching out to anyone who has expressed or typically will express an interest in doing some type of gathering, and we walk them through the process. We actually give them the permit paperwork. We tell them the do's and don'ts, and usually they're very, very good at communicating back with us as to what their intent is. So far, what we have seen is something very positive in the sense that everything that's being done is being planned in advance.
And so, Chief, just so we understand, so the entire site of what used to be the police headquarters, okay, that's gonna be Trump area staging, queuing, possibly food trucks, Best 45, all that, that's all in that area there, that's, the one block that's north of the.
Correct.
Never gonna be part of where any of these 3 permitted groups are gonna be going.
Exactly. It's a queue-in area, and that area itself has been pretty much defined as to where the people can gather and where the things that you mentioned will be, and they're still trying to finalize that as far as that specific layout.
And Chief, is that the area where they'll be showing, I guess, on screens or something during the event itself, or is there an area set aside for that?
So I don't have the answer for that yet. I couldn't remember if they said Church Street itself or the actual fenced-in area, but we'll get the answer for you.
Is there a plan for the weather? It's supposed to be bad weather.
That's something that people should be ready for. 70% chance of rain, I think, is what is expected. Obviously, the Central Florida region is the lightning capital of the world, something to be very mindful of. As far as our personnel, obviously, they will hold their areas as much as possible, but people need to be prepared to deal with that. And whether they'll be able to get out of the queue line and go back into it, that's a question that you're going to have to ask the campaign.
Will there be
Alright,
tents
2
set
more
up outside,
questions.
or-
These guys have to go to the council.
Yep, yep,
That's the private event.
yeah.
Well, that's the private event, you have to ask that.
Yep.
Don't make those determinations.
Last
Right.
question.
Do you have a goal on when you're gonna try to get these roads reopened after the event? Is there a time that you're looking at?
As soon as we're able to do it. So.
We had a commissioner in Brevard that made a joke about, a Dodge Charger going into protesters. Is there anything being done to sort of step up security for people in the area, protesters or people in queue?
All the measures that we would normally apply for a situation like this are being applied for this one, regardless of what comments are being made out there. All right, okay, thank you.